Well, here we are, Mario Kart World. This game got hinted out at a long while back when the Switch 2 trailer came out. And now, what do you know? Everybody's talking about it. With the Switch 2 Direct coming out and having a one dedicated to Mario Kart World in a couple of weeks, there's a lot to talk about this game. And yes, there's a bunch of other stuff about the Switch 2, new games, and stuff on it. But this video is focusing on Mario Kart World. I have been waiting for the new Mario Kart to come out, and I'm super excited to take a look at everything we know about the game as of now. Of course, again, that an upcoming Direct is going to be very important to knowing everything about this game, but this will be including some things we need to know, things I like about it, some hot takes, all of that. Now, if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, because that will help out a ton, and hit the notification bell so you know when I make videos. Also, I would highly consider watching the trailer or the Switch Direct or any of the gameplay that came out from Nintendo Treehouse over the time, because that would be also some really good stuff to take a look at too, at least after this video, because this video bases a lot of its inferences off of those videos, so it'd be very important to take a look at those. Anyways, let's go ahead and get on into it. So when watching this video, I do want to remind you, a bunch of this stuff is subject to change. Due to me having to try and make this video out in just 3 days worth of footage, and knowing new stuff is probably going to come out, and considering the fact that I haven't had a video in a week, I need to put this video out. So if new stuff does happen after this video, which I'm sure there will, of course we have that upcoming Direct in 2 weeks. So yeah, that is my excuse if something's inaccurate here, because again, I'm kind of on doing this on short notice. Also, for those of you who are wondering, what am I going to be exactly covering? Well, I'll be covering the gameplay mechanics for Grand Prix, Knockout Tour, and Free Roam modes. I'll also be covering carts, items, characters, tracks, and the weirdo price point, all for this game, and anything else you guys want to know about for this game, because those are all going to be important. And yeah, that's really all I really had to tell before we get into it. So let's go ahead and get started off with all the gameplay mechanics. So of course, as I said, there are 3 new game modes. As of now, we don't know about any other modes until this next Direct in like a couple weeks for Mario Kart World. But as of now, we know there's going to be, of course, the Grand Prix mode. Then there's going to be Knockout Tour mode. And then, of course, there's going to be free roaming mode. Starting with Grand Prix mode, this is the basic thing that's been in Mario Kart ever since the first game, Super Mario Kart, because the whole deal of Grand Prix mode is that it's pretty much super simple. Like, it's just a classic 4 tracks in a cup, and you're racing down those tracks trying to beat all the racers, and it's really simple. Of course, now we have 24 racers, and there is a big new gimmick here. Now that we're on a whole open world map, being the Mario Kart world, after you beat the first track in your set of 4 tracks in a cup, you will start the next race driving to the next track, and then you'll finish it on the next track. It's a kind of a weird gimmick, and to be honest, I would rather wish us go back to the normal ways where Lakita would just put us right back on the spot where we start the next track rather than us having to drive there, because not only does it seem a little bit odd compared to most games, but also the fact is, well, we get to see less of the new tracks now. I mean, if you guys do watch the footage of the Mushroom and Star Cup for the Grand Prix gameplay, you would see you don't get to see that much of the actual new track because you're spending like 1 or 2 laps just driving there. And I do fear that might not go well with a bunch of the replayability, but anyway, we're not going to really focus on that right now because we have more modes to cover. Finally, with the Grand Prix mode, there, of course, are going to be averaging from different numbers of like all around laps. Because in the Mushroom Cup, as you saw, We had several 3 lap courses, but we also had DK Spaceport, which was 8 laps, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, that's it for Grand Prix mode. Next up is Knockout Tour. Now, if I was complaining about how the Grand Prix mode seemed like replayability might be an issue of driving new courses, Knockout Tour kind of solved that issue because it's super replayable based on what we've seen of it. We have seen a couple gameplays of Knockout Tour mode, and it honestly is pretty much a parody of F-Zero 99 or other games like that. Because the whole gimmick is you gotta be in the top spots of the 24 racers, and each time a lap ends, you have to be in the top spots, but they keep on decreasing how many spots are open by 4. So it goes from 24 to 20 in the first lap, 20 to 16 on the second lap, 16 to 12 on the third lap, etc. So it will always keep going down until we're left with the champion, which is in first place, the last one remaining. And it's honestly really fun. You will be racing through 6 unique tracks and course areas throughout the Mario Kart world that we see for in the mode, and it honestly is very fun. This does look arguably a bit better than Grand Prix mode, in my opinion. I had originally when I saw the trailer, it did look a bit mixed to me, but then I saw the gameplay, and it honestly is a bit interesting. Not only that, it's going to go by super fast because again, this is all in one go, and there's no breaks in between tracks. So it seems super fun, and I feel like this could even be better than regular Grand Prix. Also, you will be able to play up to 24 online players in this, which honestly is crazy. Let's just say that right there. It's honestly shocking that we're going to be able to have up to 24 online players in this, which, of course, if you just play standard multiplayer, but 24 online racers in Knockout Tour, that's just insane. Yeah, honestly, this I arguably would say I don't have the game yet because it haven't came out yet, but it might be better in Grand Prix mode. Next, let's get in the free roaming mode. Maybe the most like brand new thing for this game though is as of now is free roaming mode. This is super interesting because we have not seen anything like this for a Mario Kart game. Usually Lakitu, when we're trying to go off the map, he's just gonna pull us back to it because he doesn't want us going backwards or falling off. He doesn't want us to explore. Here in free roaming mode, you can explore anywhere, and not only that, with friends. You can play it on multiplayer or online and just play with people. And it seems super fun this way. And the fact is, you could pick any track. I mean, in the footage of the gameplay, we saw them playing on Wario Shipyard, and that is an awesome track to explore. So, by the looks of it, this is a very interesting new game mode for this game. Now, there are some things that have not been quite answered, or at least the time of recording this. I don't know if they'll be answered in the next direct or not, but there is some hidden P switches and other stuff in the free roaming mode that we don't know quite enough about yet. But I do find it awesome that we're finally getting a free roaming mode. And the fact that you can play this with friends and even take pictures of you free roaming is awesome. And again, you're going to be free roaming while people are racing. You might run in the racers. You could also race on the track. You're just not technically in the race. You're free roaming around. This is a very interesting gimmick. And again, I don't think Knockout Tour is a bit better, but this is honestly really interesting. And I could probably spend hours just free roaming around every single course in the game. That's how fun this idea sounds to me. Well, I'm shockingly going to say this, but I definitely am extremely surprised with what we got for the tracks as of now in Mario Kart World. Of course, we could gather some of the tracks from just the trailer on its own, looking at the few courses and cups it showed us. And then we went ahead and got gameplay footage of them in Knockout Tour, which showed off a few more different tracks. It's definitely a bunch of new and retro tracks in this now. Now, I'm not gonna again. You can see them all on screen, but I'm not gonna name all of them in this one section. But again, they will all be listed on screen as you can see. I am honestly shocked with some of these picks now. I love the inclusion of making it Mario Bros. Circuit now, rather than just Mario Circuit. It includes both Bros, and it's a kind of a nice desert like automobile themed track. I don't know. It looks really fun. I love the idea of like just throwing in new stuff for these tracks. Like we got a whole new track that's gonna be themed after it looks like zoo animals. that is interesting. So go right ahead. And Peach is getting her own stadium. I like the sound of that. She probably deserved it by now, considering she's thinking has a castle and gardens and a circuit. So yeah, definitely need a stadium at this point. The retro tracks though is what's more shocking to me. I knew we needed some good retro tracks back, and I will admit, I was making a retro track prediction video, thinking that Mario Kart World wasn't going to get revealed so soon. But of course, the Direct was coming out, and we knew we were going to get some stuff out of that. So that video, sadly, is not coming out most likely because, again, the game's already out. So what would be the point of that? I will say though, I am honestly shocked that Airship Fortress um is in the flower cup because that is a little interesting here. The retro tracks and new tracks are all mixed, especially because we see retro tracks in the flower cup. I mean, we got again Airship Fortress, Shy Guy Bazaar, and Wario Stadium are all in the flower cup, along with Desert Hills. So that's already four brand like stinking new recreations of retro tracks inside this. And it's very interesting to see that they're in the Flower Cup. Same thing at the Star Cup. Wario Shipart or Sky High Sunday are both in there. And then we have DK Pass is also in there, which is makes it even more off. And I know Starview Peak is a little weird because I don't quite know if that's considered retro track or not, but it might be a recreation of Rosalie's Ice World. We will see. By the looks of it, it might be, but I would consider it a new track for the sake of the name. So it is a little interesting how they did this, but I love the picks that we got here. I definitely was predicting Wario Shipyard, Wario Stadium. I definitely wanted to see Airship Fortress here. All of these are great picks. Sky High Sunday is a little weird, but based on the footage, it does look pretty cool. Um, as you can also in the Shell Cup, Koopa Troopa Beach is there. That's pretty nice. I'm happy to see that. That's going to return. Desert Hills is an odd pick, but I'm not going to complain about it. And of course, if you did listen in the background of the trailer, you can hear Toad's Factory music. Of course, Toad's Factory is the music theme of Toad's Factory, which is probably one of the best tracks of Mario Kart Wii. That better be in this new game, and better not just been a troll. Also, Moo Moo Meadows is one of the tracks in the new Knockout Tour. If you did watch the gameplay, it is there. You know, Dino Jungle, we have seen some dinosaur track looks. We don't know if it is Dino Jungle, but there is what looks to be something similar to that. So that might also be a retro track here. Either way, though, I also discovered some new tracking Acorn Heights in the Knockout Tour mode. So again, these are all the tracks I could gather. Most of these were spot on, everybody knows about, but some of these are a little more confusing, and we had to infer that they're coming in this game. Either way, I love the track selection, besides a couple of picks here, but it seems really fun. Now, of course, this is not quite all the tracks we're getting. Again, this is just as of now, and probably after I post this video, there's going to be a bunch more information. But I am definitely happy to see what we do have as of now. I will definitely say that hopefully the Grand Prix new gimmick of driving each course isn't going to wreck some of the other courses because I do feel like courses like Sky High Sunday, from what we saw in the footage, might be a little bit hindered due to not being able to drive on it for all 3 laps. But either way, though, I love the course selection, and let's go ahead and get on with the next category we've got to take a look at. Nearly as exciting as the tracks entering this new game, let's just say the character selection is extremely fun and really weird here. If you guys did see my Mario Kart 9 prediction video I put out around 2 weeks ago, you would know that prediction was more based on what Mario Kart 8 did, having like Nintendo crossover characters, some more enemy characters, but not as much as what you're about to see, and some more variant characters and talking about possible DLC. That was all straightforward, like we'd seen with previous Mario Karts. So I figured maybe it come the same year, at least get a few more enemies, but it'd be basically more of the same roster. No, I was wrong. I at least now at this point of time, completely wrong. there are a bunch of new characters, and yes, there's some returning Mario Kart Tour characters, but a bunch of brand new characters entering this game. I'm not gonna rant off every character because that would take forever, and honestly, I can't name all of them, but you'll see them on screen because there are so many new characters that were caught in just the footage of the trailer and gameplay. It's insane. I mean, from returning tour characters, Charging Chuck is here, Hammer Bros here, and Nabbit's here. That's awesome. That's really good. I'm happy to see because I predicted Hammer Bro and Nabbit to come. They both made it. Charging Chuck is a little surprising, but I had a feeling he'd make it. I just didn't put him on my roster. But for brand new characters, they're pretty much all enemies. Like, legit. I cannot believe that Mario Kart went in this direction. And rather than making maybe some Nintendo themed characters like people thought they were going to do, they made a a ton of these insanely crazy, like, character enemies from across the series. I mean, you could play as Goomba, which awesome. I did predict Goomba. That is awesome. You could play as a Bitty Bud. Why? I don't know. You can. You can play as the Mario 64 Penguin. That's awesome. You can play as a sidestepper. Like, okay, I guess a fishbone. That is extremely confusing, but you can. I mean, you could play a swoop, a background enemy. You could play so many different enemies. But I didn't get blooper in here, which is a little bit sad, but I guess because he's an item still, so I believe he's still an item. So like I am a little bit bummed he's not playable racer, but it's not a big deal. At least Goomba's here. But the craziest thing yet is the fact that you can play as the stinking Moo Moo cow from Moo Moo Meadows. Don't ask me why they made that, but he's like the only new character from this game that was actually got its own spotlight in the trailer for like 5 seconds, which is awesome. I'm so happy you can play as that. It's not going to be my go-to, but I'm definitely going to love seeing that that is a playable character. I mean, I guess you could play as a snowman too, Mr. Blizzard. I can't believe how many new characters you could play as in this. Now, even though I'm saying there's some really good characters you could play as, there's also a bit disappointments here. Boom Boom and Pom Pom have not yet showed up in the trailer, and likely are not in this game as of now, which is a bit of a bummer. I can't believe we got all these new enemies, but we didn't get those two. That's like since I put them in my roster predictions. Along with that, my slight prediction for Koopalings and DLC, but thinking they make the roster, yeah, that might be changing. I know they were on billboards and stuff in the trailer and the original reveal, but I don't think they're going to be making this new game as of now because there have been no sign of them. So, again, I may have made the good call there by putting it in DLC. Of course, though, there are just so many characters here that I almost can't complain at all. This is the easily the best roster we have seen for Mario Kart yet, even if it put in a bunch of pretty much enemy spam in Mario Maker. Although, I will be pretty mad if Metal Mario does not get put in this game. Hopefully, he is there. Mario Kart over the years has had some amazing items, and I'm honestly shocked at what we've got from Mario Kart World at this point. There are some really interesting items that can totally change gameplay as we know it. Some of them have been ported from Tour, of course, because for some reason Nintendo still considers that main line even though nobody else does. And others are completely brand new. And there are a few we can see through the trailer or in gameplay footage as we saw in Nintendo Treehouse stuff. Now, starting off our item, I think it's gotta be the thing that we all know about, the stinking burger bag item, or whatever it's called. There are some weird floating bags we can see ever since the very first 10-second reveal on the Switch 2 trailer, where we could see a yellow thing we thought was maybe a Wonder Seed, and glad I'm happy it's not a Wonder Seed because I don't like Mario Wonder. Don't hate me, honestly, I have even worse opinions out there. But again, they didn't do that. Instead, they got a burger item here that what you eat based off of the trailer and gameplay, you change to a new costume, which is very interesting, but is a little weird. If we do watch gameplay footage, I do think you are able to select costume characters throughout it as well. It doesn't just have to be from the burger item. But I don't really know about it yet. I think the burger item's the main way to switch into a costume that's based off of your surroundings. I don't know how much of it is correct, but based on what we've seen, it does switch your outfit. I don't know how much of a gameplay changer it is, but it certainly is interesting. Of course, our tour ported items, we got the coin block and the hammer. There very well could be more of these, but the Tor coin block is pretty much simple. You just hit the block for coins. That's interesting. The hammer item is really fun. I believe that was in Tor. I will have to fact check that, but I believe it was in Tor. And of course, we see it being used by Hammer Bro in our gameplay footage and the trailer, which does confuse a little people if that's just Hammer Bro throwing hammers. But then again, why would we go the Super Mario Kart route and give every character a unique trait? Which would be fine, I guess, but no, it's an item. You can see him dragging it behind him. And there are two other items we can see in gameplay and footage of the trailer. Now I don't know the whole stuff of. The coin shell gets mentioned a lot. I believe it's just a shell that one stone, it gives you a bunch of coins and it bounces off. That sounds like a pretty good item. I don't know how useful it's gonna be, but coins do seem to be more meaningful now that you can get more than just 10 in a cup. So that is pretty interesting to know. The Kamek item seems to be the reason why Kamek is not a playable character, but it is certainly fun. I believe that this item turns everything on the track different, like turns you into Goombas or something. Again, I don't quite know what the deal is, but I am happy to see that there's a Kamek item here, and Kamek at least does get some representation because he is not a playable character. As of now, we still don't really quite know. But yet, those are pretty much most of the items I can see. The others are pretty much our normal items, so I don't really know how much else there is. I will say the lightning effect looks a lot cooler here. It literally stuns you a ton, and the blue shell might be a bit better than usual. I'd definitely say because you can actually get up faster. I don't know. It honestly feels like they really changed the bad power downs to people and made them a lot easier to control in this game. So I am happy with that. Anyways, this is the end of this section. Of course, though, something I feel like people sometimes forget about when it comes to Mario Kart is indeed its karts. Mario Kart is a game where people race in karts and go kart stuff and bikes and Mercedes. They race in a bunch of things. And I feel like that is a main point to touch on here. Now, of course, the new gimmick with this game is the fact that, well, it's a bit different. Rather that, based on what we've seen, there are no gliders anymore. In gameplay footage in the trailer, it has been revealed that your cart now switches into a plane. I love this new gimmick, and I think it is pretty cool. And now it does make it feel maybe a bit better. Also, as a note, it's no wheel selection or anything. You're just picking one singular card. And yes, it does take away some of the combinations you could do in other games, but it makes combinations less overpowering and just makes the cards more simpler. So honestly, I find this is a great change. I was starting to get really tired of people racing as Wally G Wiggler for a long time and then Yoshi Teddy Buggy. So this is a great change just to give you a straight course styled cart. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this decision overall. Honestly though, this is probably the part of the video I did not want to have to film. And that is because there are a few complaints I have with Mario Kart World as of now. Of course, I already talked about how driving to the next course in Grand Prix mode might be a bit boring at some point, but here's my main complaint here. The price reach is insane. $80 for a video game is quite high. And not to mention, this game will not be compatible with the Switch 1, which means you have to buy a Switch 2 to play this game. And not only is this $80 of a game, but the Switch 2 is $450. And if you want to get these together, I guess it is a bundle deal. You get them both for $500. But come on. The regular Switch itself, the Switch 1, was only like $300, and the Switch Lite was $200. So now we're looking at this, and it's like, what the heck, man? Now we have to pay $500 at minimum just to get these two games? Like, that's just stupid as heck. So, that is my main complaint here because I want to get this game. And I want to get a Switch too. But Nintendo needs to take down the price. So no wonder this was the one thing they did not mention in the trailer for this game. Well guys, as usual, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I honestly do not really know what else to say about this game. It looks really fun, and of course in 2 weeks we're gonna get the next direct for this game, which explains a lot more, and hopefully answers some of the unanswered questions we still have. And if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell, as it really helps out the channel. And also, thanks to the people of Nintendo who put out all this gameplay footage, because trust me, without this gameplay footage, it would take even more work just to work it off the trailer. Anyways, until next time, guys, see ya.